I told the judge I would take 15 years right now. I acknowledged that I had made some mistakes and I had done some things that were wrong. And I said, I'll take 15 years right now. He refused to accept my plea offer, and I went to trial, and then I ended up getting 50 years. 5-0, and
So they give you 25 for each case? Is that what it
25
was?
for each case. Consecutive.
8-year-old Sheldon Johnson of Harlem is charged with murder and concealment of a human corpse. This is Johnson recently on Joe Rogan's podcast, talking about how he had turned his life around after a life of crime.
Hello, and welcome back to Rise in Crime. In this episode, we have a story of murder and deception. Strap in, because this is a crazy ride. This story starts in 1975 in New York, where a boy by the name of Sheldon Johnson was born. He was born to a deaf and mute couple, and because of their disabilities, lived in poverty. Johnson was first arrested in 1985 when he sprayed his fifth-grade math teacher with a fire extinguisher after failing to stab him with a concealed kitchen knife. According to Johnson, the teacher had regularly abused him by hitting his hands with a ruler as corporal punishment for participating in school fights in the months before. At age 12, he was recruited by a childhood friend, a 19-year-old named Shamik, to work as a drug runner, selling narcotics, including cocaine, to people from Buffalo to Pennsylvania over the course of the next 7 years. Johnson was arrested and jailed several times in connection to the trafficking ring, which he eventually came to lead. In 1994, after previously eluding police capture by jumping from the fifth-floor apartment he lived in with his girlfriend and their infant son, Johnson was arrested at a hospital and charged with drug trafficking, kidnapping, and other felonies. He spent 2 years on Rikers Island and was acquitted in 1996. Following his release, Johnson committed a series of robberies targeting people that owed him unpaid protection money during his time in prison. During one such robbery, Johnson non-fatally shot a man in the back as he attempted to flee from him. He was arrested under the alias Thomas Smalls in Manhattan for possession of stolen property in 1997, and months later, on December 24th, he was arrested for attempted murder and robbery. In 1999, after rejecting a plea deal that would have Johnson serve 23 years in prison, he received a sentence of 50 years without parole for 41 years, during which time he reportedly served time along with Colin Small. While incarcerated, Johnson helped create numerous prison rehabilitation programs. He earned a GED and gained an associate degree in liberal arts through a Cornell University-funded correspondence course college program. In 2010, Johnson reconciled with his father, who had gone clean in 2002 and remarried. After his release, Johnson began working as a paralegal for prison rehabilitation activist groups. On February 1, 2024, only a month before the murder of Colin Small, Johnson was featured as a guest on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, wherein he talked about his criminal history and advocated for prison rehabilitation. Which brings us to March 4th, 2024. Colin Small was last seen around 10 p.m. by his building superintendent. Surveillance footage showed Small entering his apartment by himself. The next morning, the superintendent was called by a tenant who reported hearing 2 gunshots at around 1 a.m., after which she had heard a man shouting, "Please don't, I have a family," followed by another 2 shots. The superintendent checked the CCTV on Small's floor, which had captured a man, later identified as Sheldon Johnson, repeatedly exiting and entering the apartment in different clothes, including hats, a blonde wig, and the same outfit the victim had been wearing when he entered the apartment, returning with cleaning supplies and a blue bin, in which parts of Small's body were later found. The superintendent called 911 at 11:30 a.m. to conduct a wellness check, which occurred at 8:25 p.m., and upon arrival, the officers were met with Johnson, who claimed that Small had gone upstate. Johnson was taken into custody after a search recovered human body parts, later identified as belonging to Small in the apartment. Police also found concrete and a Tyvek suit in Johnson's car. Police said that during a wellness check, officers found a human torso and a foot in a plastic bin, while the victim's head and several body parts were found in the freezer. According to an investigation, Johnson shot 44-year-old Colin Small multiple times in the head around 1 a.m. on March 5th, killing him. And that's it. A crazy story of someone who was seeming reformed, a changed man, even went on the biggest podcast in the world to prove himself, just to turn around and fall into the same dark path. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week with a new video.